Welcome back to the AM show, and thank you for staying with us. Now, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, which you know as the AMA, raises serious concerns about the government's fumigation contract with the Just One group of companies, operators of Zoomlion Ghana, alleging a lack of consultation and transparency and demanding a review of the fumigation contract, as they also warn of a possible outbreak of diseases in the national capital, declaring all landfills sites at least very full. Now let's talk about the issues. Now joining me on phone before we come in studio is Florence Kuchi, and she's Director of Public Health at the AMA. Thank you for joining us this morning. And I'm also joined in studio by Reverend Dr. Kwame Adai, Head Vector Control Services, and also Emma Osei, Director Communications and Corporate Affairs in studio. But let's go on phone first and speak to Madam Kuchi on this particular, shall we call it, allegation and better perspective of what they are saying about the fumigation contract, the abrogation of it, and the warning that you're giving us about the landfills. Put this in a better perspective for us.
Okay, good morning, my dear. Let me thank you for having me. First of all, let me make the line straight. Nobody is giving any allegation, or nobody is blaming anybody for anything. What we are saying is that we are key stakeholders when it comes to the SIP. And the SIP is mostly signed at the top level, but it comes down. And most of the time, the technical officers doesn't have a say in the SIP. So we are saying that before the SIP is signed, technical officers should also be brought in so that we also know what is in there. Sometimes we also bring in our technical input that it together. Then at the end of the day, the needed results that we are all looking for, that is what we are going to get. We are not saying somebody is doing something illegal or somebody is doing something at the blind side of someone. We just want a collaboration, because if you want to get something good, you must collaborate to source ideas from each other and then bring it together and get your needed results. Thank you.
For some education, what is the SIP, and step-by-step consultation? What do you seek, and how do you want this consultation? What would it look like? Let's get some clarity. What role particularly?
For instance, the SIP is the Sanitation Improvement Program that is handled by the Johnson Group of Companies, and it is signed at the national level. For instance, if the contract is going to be signed, whatever is in the contract, at least it must be brought to bear for key stakeholders to also have their input in it. Maybe what they may think they are the holders of the contract, but there are people who are going to supervise the contract. Maybe there are some things that the people who are supervising can also put in to make the contract achieve the needed results that we all want. There's one thing having a contract, and there's one thing having a reflect on the ground. For it to reflect on the ground, all the actors must have something to say on it before it is signed, so that everybody knows the role he or she is playing in the contract for us to have the needed results that we are all looking for. So what we are saying, most of the times, or let me say, the contract is always signed at the national level, and then it is brought down. You understand? So sometimes before you take it, even some assemblies are there, they don't even have access to the SIP. You only get to see it when auditors come and they are looking for it. The SIP sometimes become as if we don't know what it is. It is so highly in a way that, and I'm not saying it is the doing of the people that the contract has been given to. It is the general concern that the AMA Environmental Health Officers raised during the meeting with the Parliamentary Select Committee.
Okay. I'll let you go, but before I let you come in studio, again, I want specifically what role. I understand that you want a decentralization after the contracts or after they've been signed.
So what we are saying, the SIP is just a jacket. It is one thing for everybody. But every jurisdiction, every locality, every geographical area has their own peculiar issues. So if maybe something that AMA will be facing as an issue, Medina will not be facing that as an issue. So if you just sign a one contract that is supposed to be
be a challenge.
in what you want.
Okay.
At least consult all the MMDAs to find out each area what their key challenge is. And then when you bring it on board, it is going to solve the challenge that the people are facing. But if you make it one, maybe it will not be solving a challenge at another place, but it will be solving a challenge at a different place. But there should be series of consultations that will bring it together, and then we'll get what we want. Then at the end of the day, wherever you are going, you are not going to do the same thing like you are AMA, you are doing this. When you go to Abnegma Central, you are doing the same thing. But the needed challenges may not be the same. This is what we are just calling for.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for bringing some clarity to this conversation that's just started. But back in studio, I'm here with Reverend Dr. Kwame Adai, Head Vector Control Services, and as well Emma Osei, Director Communications and Corporate Affairs. Reverend Doc, I'll start with you. You may have heard what the AMA or Madam Kuchi is saying. As of this morning, the understanding of the SIP and what their concerns, are they legitimate concerns?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, and good morning to our listeners. I'm happy that Madam Kuchi is bringing all these at this 11th hour. First of all, he talked about signing a contract at the national level. The SIP contract or other related contracts are not signed at the national level. It is a contract signed between Zoomlion and the district assembly.
Okay.
When I mean the district assembly, could be the metropolitan, the municipal, or the district, because they have been grouped into three: municipal, metropolitan, and then the district, according to the size or by law. We do not sign it at the national. If you go and sign at the national level, whom are you signing with? It means that there should be a representative from the district assembly and a representative from Zoomlion or just one group of company. And when we have signed our part, we hand it over to the district assembly. Who will be nominated to sign, I will not be able to determine. Because the assembly will have DCDs who are the administrative head of the district assembly or the municipal. So if they decide to let their environmental health officers sign, I do not have a problem today. And I can't have any decision as to who should be allowed to sign the contract. So therefore, when the contract is signed and is given to us, it is presumed that the assembly has agreed on whom should sign. And when it is signed, I can't query the person who signed because the assembly has its own culture, and I can't dictate for it. So that is what I want the public to know. That first of all, the contract is signed at the district assembly level, and it is the assembly member who are representing the assembly.
So you would say that there's a fair representation. It is properly decentralized, and so it's not 100%. That it is signed at the top. But so Emma, let me understand. I'm certain that you know that this is coming up, especially because of fumigation, SASSs, or the concern about cholera or other health outbreaks, because it's believed that our landfills are quite full. Is it a challenge of this policy implementation? Where exactly do you think the AMA is coming in? What is the challenge that we want to cure?
Right now, thank you very much, though. From the discussion going on, you realize that the various parties involved have their own issues regarding the contracts and the assignment. So for me, I am a contractor and I've been assigned to do my job. So I make sure I put in the exact things that I need to put in place to get the job done. Now, we have established processing units, having realized that land was getting extremely scarce and that was going to put pressure on the landfills. So we direct traffic for the waste to go into the processing units so that they are sorted there and given a second life to the kind of waste that can be reused, so that the landfills receive very minimal waste that can be managed over there. So that is what the intervention we have brought into the whole system, having foreseen that one day the landfills may be overblown. Now, the landfill that we have here for Accra is at Adepa. Adepa is very far, beyond Nsawam. So that is also a very big challenge. I want to believe that the various assemblies should have their own mechanism to cure this very problem. But when we cut the waste from the homes in the various assemblies, where do we take it? If we all have to aggregate those waste at Adepa, what do you expect? So if you want to find out what we are curing, we want to get the right remedy for the waste collected to be managed properly. So we want to direct attention to the processing units. We have set up transfer stations around town. We have one at Teshi. We have one at Pantine, Abokobi area. We have a minimal one around Kokomlimli. We have one at Ashaman area, so that we can hold these waste in between before we cut them to the processing sites. Otherwise, the waste in your home and in my home is going to pile up. So we do this to reduce the turnaround time so that the individual waste generator doesn't suffer too much.
Rev, back to this SIP contract, the Waste Improvements Package contract that the AMA is calling for a review. I like to think that it is a contract that is ongoing, or is a contract that has ended, but by extension you're still providing the service. Has it ended? Has it been extended? What is the current situation with that particular contract?
Thank you very much. The contract is ongoing.
Okay.
Waste management cannot stop. Even when you stop collecting, the amount of waste or tonnage that will be compared in some specific area to alarm. If you go to a busy area like Accra, the amount of waste, those that come from outside Accra, those within Accra, individuals bringing their waste from their own enclaves into the area. If you say you want to stop and go and do other things for 2-3 days before you come, we cannot. And there are a lot of complications. So these contracts have been ongoing. As and when the contract is coming to expiration, due process are followed, and also it gets it renewed.
Okay, I'd go to Emma. So you want to confirm to us that this particular contract that is part of the conversation, or is the main conversation, is not an expired contract?
No.
It's ongoing?
Ongoing.
Are you able to tell us the duration, how long it has to continue? And especially because AMA, who can help implement it, is asking for a review. How long do we still have for the contract to continue or to end?
Oh, we have ample time. We have a lot of time, because this one, I believe, was kicked in not too long ago. So that cannot be possible per the arrangements. Yeah. So it's ongoing. And one thing that I find a bit difficult to understand is that we are contractors. And if the contract comes in and the representative is assigned to append a signature to it, like Osofo said, we have no much control. We have nothing to do about who signs it on. So if they are saying they are not privy to the contract, or they don't have information on the contract, I don't know how Zoomlion comes in to intervene for them to get that kind of details. Because when we sign the contract with our partner, they also have copies. And the staff that work with the assemblies should also get copies from the representatives that signed, or from what Madam calls from the top.
Okay.
All right. So
Rev, I mean, most importantly, and again, we're trying to situate the conversation because it's something that has pushed them to want to talk about this contract. They highlight fumigation, landfill, which is what we're trying to situate. Walk us through the fumigation process. How does a fumigation process, how is it done normally or culturally? Okay,
thank you very much. The fumigation process is also as simple as we do the SIP. The fumigation is done on quarterly basis, and we do not do it on isolation or in isolation. We work with district or municipal environmental health officers. They have their environmental officers attached. So we draw an itinerary. We work with itinerary within the quarter. Let's say from January to March, we sit down with the environmental department and they will direct as to where the work should be done. The work could either take place at the public toilet. It can also be a deratting exercise. It could also be a container site or government apartment or wherever the director of environmental service, the DEHO or MEHO, will decide. When it is being decided, the DEHO is a single person, but the DEHO may have at least a number of environmental officers, NHOs. They assign them and then they go with us. Then we have it done. In the case of AMA, AMA has 3 sub-metros, and these sub-metros are Ashiedu Keteke. We have Ablikuma South and Okankwi South. It's made up of the AMA. And these sub-metros have their own environmental health officers.
So you deal with these environmental...
We deal with them.
You don't deal with AMA as a body in itself.
The AMA is represented by these people, of which Madam Kuchi is the founder. He's the head of these environmental officers. So we go, it's as early as in the morning, we go with these people, and then we have some assemblymen or unit committee members, depending upon the area that we are going to work. When we go and we work with them, they endorse that this area has been done. And this itinerary is not generated by we alone. It's a collaborative effort. If you're at AMA, the head of AMA, you will not come and do this because you have designated your environmental officers at Ashiedu Keteke, Ablikuma South, and then Okankwi South, and we deal with them. When we deal with them, if they finish with a package of a work done, we give it to them, then they send to their director, which is at the AMA.
Well, help me, Rev. So where then do we place all these concerns by the AMA then?
They all work under the AMA.
So this particular concern, the current concerns, and even the one that Madame Florence Kuchi has just told us now, where then do we put it? Is it that it is unfounded?
What he's saying that he made mention of report signing, he doesn't see the report, and then it comes to the say you should sign. You are not working alone as a director. You are working under, you are working over 3 district environmental health officers and more than necessary environmental officers. So these people represent you at various sub-metros. And we work with these people. When it becomes feasible that we work with Madam Kuchi, we inform her.
Okay.
And then we work with them accordingly. So there is no single day that we have gone to work without people, either the assemblyman in the area or the unit committee members, or even the people who are this container site or the public toilet. So if he said he doesn't see this, then her subordinate have been scrutinizing all these things before they bring to her. And she's perfectly aware that we have been doing this in consultation. There is no single activity that has been taken on or have been carried out without their knowledge. They give us the areas to work, and we go with them, we execute it in their presence or their representative, and they sign on their behalf. So if he's saying that, then I can tell you that it's misleading.
Okay. Emma, sorry, my friends call me forgive me. So in wrapping this conversation up, should we as a country or should my viewers watching be worried about the concerns, the health concerns that the AMA has raised? And we're asking you because you're a major player on the value chain so that we're not worried about our health. They've raised concerns about possible cholera outbreak, saying that our landfills are quite full. Should we be concerned with these, the concerns of the AMA at all?
Thank you. Once it's a concern by a party involved in the full chain, why not? People should be concerned. But from our end as the service providers, I would say that we have seen, research from our end has brought to bear a lot of things, and for us to forestall them, such as setting in place the landfill, the processing units, setting in place the transfer stations, all these stopgaps we put in place so that we can cut the waste from the individuals. If the waste was not carted from their immediate generation points, that would have been a major concern. Now, having put in these major facilities, we are sure that we are in control of the waste management. Therefore, they should not be worried about, say, an outbreak of a disease that is going to cause havoc. Because in recent times, there was a bit of outbreak, but it didn't go too far, as we used to know before we came into it.
So we're safe as a country?
We are very safe.
We're in healthy environment?
We are safe.
Rev, I'll let you take the last bite.
Yes, please. We are in a healthy environment. You see, the environment is made up of all of us. And therefore, we should not think that because Zoomlion is doing ABC, so we'll continue not to do our work. Before somebody gets a cholera, it may be that, just excuse me, somebody have eaten someone's feces or physical waste. How does it come by? If open defecation is reduced, all these kind of cholera issue will also be reduced. And everybody is part and parcel. It is not just one person. We are doing our best and we're encouraging that everybody should keep his or her environment clean so that it will help us to be able to ascertain the problem. When cholera occurs, when it is out of hand, it affects you, it affects me. And we put in every effort. We have been collaborating with Madam Florence Kuchi in all these aspects. So he knows that the work is there with their collaboration. Why not?
Thank you.
It's a mutual beneficial to us.
Thank you for bringing some clarity. And thank you, Reverend Dr. Kwame Adai. He's Head Vector Control Services, and also Emma Osei, Director Communications and Corporate Affairs. Earlier, we had Madame Florence Kuchi, Director of Public Health at the AMA. Remember that the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. We go for a break. When we come back, Easter Saturday Health Fair. Please stay.